The unluckiest ship in U.S. Navy history. The William D. Porter destroyer was probably the unluckiest ship in all of the U.S. Navy's history. The Fletcher-class destroyer, nicknamed Willie D. by her crew, was named after William Porter, who was a Civil War hero. It came into active service in 1943, and no one could have predicted all the accidents that would happen to the Willie D. Her first mission was escorting the President of the United States, Franklin Roosevelt, who was on board the battleship USS Iowa, to Persia. The destroyer's career got off to a rocky start. When leaving port, its anchor got stuck on another destroyer and the anchor ripped out some railings, a lifeboat and other bits and pieces. The William D. remained undamaged itself, so it met up with the USS Iowa and other escort ships ready to escort the President to Persia. As standard procedure when escorting a person of importance, all ships were ordered to maintain radio silence and only communicate through signal lights. It only took one day for the next little accident to happen to the Fletcher-class destroyer, when it accidentally dropped an armed depth charge, which forced the fleet to take evasive action, believing they were under attack by submarines. Only a few hours later, a massive wave hit the ship that killed one sailor and flooded the boiler room. It was an eventful first day of service for the William D. Porter. A few days later, Franklin Roosevelt asked for a demonstration of the Iowa's anti-aircraft capabilities. Some target balloons were launched, and the crew of Iowa and the surrounding ships shot them down. Next, he asked for a demonstration of the fleet anti-submarine capabilities. Here is where everything started going horribly wrong for the Willie D. The destroyers were supposed to fire blanks, by ensuring the primers of the torpedoes were removed so the torpedoes wouldn't actually fire. The William D. Porter got into position about 6,000 yards away from the USS Iowa, and commenced the mock attack. The first two torpedo tubes did not fire as intended, but the third torpedo shot out of the tube heading straight for Iowa. It was later discovered the primer was in place and the torpedo could fire. The captain of the Willie D. quickly realized the mistake and ordered the men to signal with the lights to the Iowa. In the confusion, they accidentally signaled that the destroyer was reversing at full speed. When the crew of the destroyer realized the mistake, they broke radio silence and warned USS Iowa of the torpedo. Iowa managed to avoid the torpedo, but it aimed all of its guns upon the Willie D., because they feared an assassination plot on the President of the United States. The Willie D. was ordered to sail to Bermuda, where the crew was arrested. The chief torpedo man admitted his mistake, and was sentenced to 14 years of hard labor. Roosevelt personally intervened, lessening the sentence of all the crew. The next chapter in the destroyer's life begins when it was transferred to the Pacific Theater. In September 1944, the destroyer was moved to the Western Pacific, where it served as a ship escort as well as bombarding some shores. It shot down a few aircraft as well as sinking a couple of merchant vessels, before it joined the fleet for the Battle of Okinawa. It shot down another 5 planes, before the bad luck struck again. It accidentally hit the destroyer USS Luce with gunfire, and the bad luck ended only when the ship was sunk by a kamikaze dive bomber who missed the destroyer, but because of the bad luck of the ship, the kamikaze plane drifted under the destroyer and exploded, which made Willie D. jump into the air. The crew fought for 3 hours against the raging fires until they were ordered to abandon ship. Miraculously, none of the crew died and were all safely rescued from the sinking ship. The career of the unluckiest ship in the U.S. Navy finally came to an end. Please like and subscribe to Military Curious for more military stories.